is ready. Now, while I wait for the slides to show up, this summit is being conducted through after an extensive process of consultations. Now, what I would like to do is I'll mention the lead agencies, the participating agencies, and the other contributing actors in this. And if you are in attendance, what I would like you to do is clap. Yeah? Ready? Ministry of Health? Ministry of Health? Okay. Minister of Education? Yeah. Minister of Higher Education? TradeNet? Yeah. Minister of Homeland Security and Technology? Minister of Economic Development and Trade? Yeah. Minister of Finance and Planning? Yeah, so these are the lead agencies, and they are the agencies that are responsible for the 8 digital transformation pillars. Now, you would notice there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on here on the screen, which are the lead agencies. But there are 8 pillars, and there are 10 presentations. So what's going on here? The first thing is Minister of Homeland Security and Technology. They will be presenting 6 papers. The Ministry of Higher Education, Ministry of Education will combinedly present 1 paper, and Ministry of Finance will be presenting another paper, and Ministry of Economic Development also will be presenting a paper. So the total comes to not about exactly 10 papers. Now, the contributing agencies or the participating agencies of the summit are these agencies. And the SOEs, I believe you are also all in attendance today. And this process also has been conducted through consultations with state-owned enterprises as well. Now, what has the process been like? What have we been doing up until last night? And what are we going to do today and tomorrow at the summit? The first part of this began during Ramadan. And this process involved collecting some baseline data from the agencies, the lead agencies, the participating agencies, and their SOEs. And this was collected through a structured way, where we looked into what are their current digital initiatives, what are the initiatives that they have planned, how much money goes into their current initiatives, how much money they have planned to invest in the future. And also, we looked at very thoroughly into what are their current challenges, what are the opportunities in their mind that there is when it comes to digital transformation in the Maldives. And then after this was done, then continued a series of meetings through which we tried to combine this information that we got from all the lead agencies, all the participating agencies, and the SOEs into what we call pillar papers and pillar presentations, which we are going to see today. So those documents, they extensively cover the whole sector rather than the information or data from just one agency. And now, today at this summit, what we'll be doing is going through those papers, going through the presentations, and after each presentation, we'll be officially discussing it, agreeing to it, disagreeing to it, and then coming up with a plan. Then these decisions that we make here today and tomorrow, they will go into the President's Digital Transformation Vision document, which will direct all the digital transformation initiatives in the Maldives for the next 4 years. Now, this whole activity is driven by a set of guiding principles. We'll be sharing these principles with you through a link shortly. But these guiding principles are important to consider in our discussions so that we make sure that all the initiatives that we planned are aligned and in agreement with these principles. Now, there are 8 pillars that we mentioned. Some of you might not have the opportunity to go through it yet, so I'll quickly go through it for you. The first pillar is digital identity and trusted transactions. The next pillar is open data sharing and governance. Pillar 3 is cybersecurity for national resilience. Pillar 4 is modern legal framework for digital trust and governance. Pillar 5 is secure and sovereign digital infrastructure. Pillar 6 is citizen-centric e-government services. Pillar 7 is sectoral digital transformation. Now, this is an important one for us to give some thought. Under this pillar, there are 3 sub-pillars, which are education, finance, and health. Yeah, education, finance, and health. These are the priority sectors that is set by the President to go on an accelerated digital transformation journey in the next 4 years. Now, Pillar 8 is ICT ecosystem development and innovation. Now, these 6 principles that I showed you earlier, they guide how we act. The 8 pillars are going to define what we do, and together at this summit, we'll be shaping Maldives 2.0. Now, the objectives of the summit, even during last night's keynote addresses, and throughout this process, we've been saying that the biggest challenge Maldives has is the systems within one office doesn't communicate with the systems in another office. But I believe there's another underlying issue. In addition to the systems, the people in these offices, they don't talk to each other. So how can the systems talk? We need to talk. Our approach, our thinking, how we design when it comes to softwares and technologies, and also how we design our services. This process needs to be coherent and needs to be collaborative. So we need to talk to each other. This is why this summit is happening. This is why we are here today. This is what we are going to do during this summit. Now, this is not only where you as audience sit and listen. This is a working summit. We are here to do real work. Every presentation today sets the foundation for Maldives 2.0. Your job is not just to listen. Your job is to engage, to question, to challenge, to shape. Everything that will be presented on this stage is not final. It's not done. It's, in fact, you can call it draft 0. Your ideas, your feedback, your criticism is needed for that. Why? The first thing is there are about 15 or 16 outcomes, but I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about only one outcome. What we do here today has to contribute to what we are calling a multi-stakeholder validated digital transformation roadmap. This will be done through the process, through what we are doing here today. Now, I talked about 10 presentations. Each presentation will be 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, there will be a 40-minute expert panel discussion. Now, the flow is a moderator will come and The speaker or the presenter who presented would also be joined by other experts in that area who worked on the pillar document, as well as during the whole process who has been involved specifically from that sector. But a success, a KPI you can track is the moderator, whoever comes here, the less question the moderator asks herself or himself to the panelist, and the more questions that come from you, the more criticisms that come from you, then the better it is. That's how we want it to go. We want this to be your conversation, your dialogue. Every presentation is a proposal, and every discussion is a chance to sharpen that proposal into action. Now, these are the faces you'll be seeing on the stage today. The 10 presenters. Yeah. So what we expect from you today is, first of all, ask questions and seek clarity. Do not assume. Instead, ask questions, get clarity, and disagree constructively, and identify gaps and overlaps, and suggest improvements for it, and express support for strong ideas, and also push for realism in what we are proposing here today. Now, today, what you say matters. It will be recorded. There will be a summit secretariat in this room, and they will be capturing all your feedbacks, ideas, and comments. And all of it, whether it's agreements or disagreements and recommendations, they will be reflected in the Maldives 2.0 vision document. So today, what you say shapes policy. So speak. By the end of today, we would know whether each pillar is directly heading towards the right direction. We will agree on the gaps and overlaps. We will shape agency-level responsibilities, and we will set the tone for execution. And we will leave with clarity, not confusion. And you are not just participants. You are architects of Maldives 2.0. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yusha. Now, let's welcome Ms. Jana Krimpe, founder and CEO of Best Solutions Estonia, digital identity, e-governance, and cross-border e-trade expert, for her keynote address on mobile identity for the next digital era, innovation, security, and inclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Jana Krimpe. Yes, of course, for presentation.
Okay, hello. Some technical issues. So my name is Jana Krimper, and I'm CEO and founder of Best Solutions, the company which was created more than 15 years ago. And our main task is we have been established to try to create proof of concept of those solutions which Estonia have developed outside of Estonia. Because, you know, there are a lot of countries who are coming to Estonia and tell that we are so succeeded because we are small, because we are smart, because we are digital well developed, or maybe we have some magic location. So we want to prove that everything is possible in any part of the world if you have political will to change something. So this is what is our company doing for last 15 years. And we have proved the story in one of the countries named Azerbaijan, which is far from Estonia, which is much bigger, 10 million population, with business culture. We have fully created from scratch the whole e-government infrastructure and identity infrastructure as well. So why today? I'm very happy that this topic is the first one opening this discussion. So why identity is so crucial and so important, why we should take this into consideration when we develop Maldives 2.0 strategy. So you see that today there are a lot of news, and I know that Maldivians as well sometimes appear to be about cyber attacks. So we see that for today, these numbers are really drastic ones. So 39 billion records breached in 2023. And it's not just the breaches, it's a lot of data inside that. The passwords were stolen, the addresses were stolen, even ID numbers and document information. So all this would be used by hackers and criminals to attack people around the world. So 3 million records from one US-based company just alone exposed in 2024. And of course, this is not only numbers, there is money behind that. And that's why this topic became so important, because we should think how we protect the data of our citizens and how we start to control transaction, what is done in our country. And digital identity, strong, secure and protected, is a crucial element to provide that. So that's why over 170 countries today developing digital strategies. So you are not alone. There is a lot of countries who are also thinking how to make these changes. So as I told that why the digital identity is important, very often when we are starting to think about e-government, we think something different one from our everyday life. But it's not. We also need to prove all transactions what our citizens will do in state services legally. This transaction. So it's extremely important to understand that identity should be legally binding, digital signature. It means that every single transaction what citizens or companies or government will do in information systems have this is a trusted access to all these e-services what you are developing in Maldives. In Estonia, we took her as based understanding that for people it's much better to the e-government. So not to go to the less secured identity whatever passwords and one-time passwords. So the concept is you need to protect or not to protect. So it's not semi-protection. So I'm always arguing with the countries which do some transition tools for authentication, like, because it's easy to people. But if you need to protect, you need to protect it to be sure that this data not be stolen, that the fraud will not happen, and the people have control over the data, the same control the state has as well, because state is responsible for that. So and this is a key for a huge amount of services in your country, starting from e-health, e-education, financial services like e-banking, e-insurance, and so on. So in Estonia, there are more than 2,000 different e-services which are delivered to the citizens, and they're all accessed by digital identity. So for today, what made our story succeeded? The one magic word is compulsory or mandatory. So I'm very often telling that no one kids wouldn't like to go to school, yes? So we are who pushing kids to go to the school, and after they grow up, they tell you, thank you, Dad, or thank you, Ma'am, that you pushed me to get education. Something like that we did in Estonia as well. So we created our eID card with digital signature, and it was compulsory to the whole population to have it. And of course, if you have key, but nothing to open with this key, so people will not start to use it anyway. So also we started to think how to create this user-friendly and important services that people start to feel the benefits. And there were several of such kind of services, not only financial sector. Why financial sector? Because this is people doing daily. They're paying for something, they're buying something. So they're doing these transactions very often. And the security here is extremely important. But also we have implemented mandatory tax declaration service for the whole population to the people who are over 18. But if you are creating some mandatory services, you need to motivate people to have some additional motivation to the service, because it's a first step service where people are discovering something. So it's extremely important when we develop something, as I told yesterday, it should be really, people should feel that it's something really new and something very easy comparing with their present life. So if before in Estonia people did tax declaration on a paper, went to tax offices, were waiting in a queues, spent the time, then magic happened. They just entered to the tax office webpage and have seen that as all data is already filled by backbone of the government information system. And they feel this magic. But the second magic was the money. Because the Estonian government told that every single person who will fill this tax declaration will get overpaid taxes back. And I remember when I was a student, I was running to this portal as quick as possible, because I knew as soon as I clicked to this button, the same day I get my money back. And it wasn't a small number of amount. So you see, it's a lot of things what you need to think about, how to start with which services, how to put people to feel these benefits. And what is also very important in Estonia, we have ID card, but we have also mobile ID, which is a SIM-based mobile identity, and we have also smart ID, which is a cloud-based identity. And I will tell later why we have 3 of them, not only 1. So Estonia also not exemption, and we was the first nation in the world who was in the large cyber attack in 2007. And this changed our paradigm, we understood that to protect our e-government is not just about the protection, it's about national security. So we need to think very deeply how we protect our country. And also, we are not exception. We had a lot of cyber attacks. Today, also AI sophisticated, deep fake. For today, for example, a counter is about 10% of biometric fraud. So that's why when you start to implement some emerging technologies, you need to think also about what that can happen. We have a lot of so-called hype, which is coming very quickly on the board. Understand what is a fraud could be caused with that technology, which kind of biometric identification we can implement or not. So very often I'm asking to the governments somewhere that you are implementing biometric identification where the accuracy is 75%. But what does that mean 75% in real life? It means approximately from 10 people, 2 can illegally open a company, for example, and 2 are criminal fraud. So if you look to this number, this is a big one, because the 70% looks like okay. So we need to understand what can be done with this possibility if we implement this service for some very critical infrastructure. So now I would like to take what makes or breaks a digital ID system and what we need to take into consideration. Of course, the strong policy alignment and a legal framework. Nothing will happen. The trust is not coming because of trust. The trust is coming because of legacy. And it's extremely important to have laws. So we can't start to implement technology without thinking and designing how it will be legally regulated. So for Maldives also we should decide what kind of identity we would like to have, and which regulation, what we take into consideration. Would it be European Union regulation, or maybe it will be some different regulations? What is a high level of assurance for us? How this ecosystem should look like, and how to make this digital identity legally binding. Because if there are no law, there are no legacy to instrument what you implement. So there are no point to have technology if not regulated. So that's why if we want to achieve quick results here in Maldives, we need to put a lot of energy as soon as possible for developing these legal acts to regulate not only identity, but to regulate e-document, to regulate data protection, to regulate cybersecurity, to regulate informational systems, how they should be created, under which semantic, under which regulation. So this is a whole absolutely important part before you start to use digital identity. Without that, it's impossible. The next, also very important, is a clear institutional responsibility. Which would be responsible for managing this infrastructure. So in Estonia, it's a State Informational System Authority. And also it's very important to understand who will be regulator and who will be implementer. Don't put them two in one. Just to try to understand which authority will start to regulate, to make audits, control over the system, and which authority will start to implement and to provide the service. And this should be a very clear message. There are no ways that different authorities will do the same job. So it should be one clearly defined governmental authority according to your policy culture. In some countries, they're deciding to put this directly under the president, some countries putting under the ministries. us here and to think what will be the best fit for Maldives. So, very important is user-centric design and implementation. So, as I told, very often people coming to Estonia and see our smart card and thinking that this is a magic tool which solved our problem. It was magic tool 25 years ago. So do we really need today to implement this tool, or maybe we're thinking about another tool? Because you have this great opportunity to look forward and to see which technologies today are much well developed and user-friendly. You need to think, first of all, about your people, their ability to use one and another digital tool, and what is the best for them. So I will tell a little bit later about different identity types, what their pluses and minuses, why it's important to have diverse identity tools integrated in the country, but it's up to you to decide which one you will implement. So, and user-centric design, it's about easiness, accessibility as well. So you need to think very carefully, is all people in the country can use this tool? Because some countries they still have rural areas, people with limited digital literacy. It's not a point for Maldives, but in other countries it could be access to connectivity. Maybe some people can read and write in some countries. So we need to take this all into consideration, how we create this user-friendly tools for people. I will not talk about user-friendly services because it's not my topic. It will be done by other speakers. So that's concentrated only to identity tools. And capacity building for institutions and citizens. So it's extremely important that you have sustainability in what you are implementing. So let's imagine you will get good donors, grant from World Bank or Asian Bank. You will implement some infrastructure, but what happens after? So we need to think carefully what kind of solution we implement, how we get independency, because it's a critical infrastructure of the country, how much we can depend on some overseas vendors. So maybe we can concentrate it to these tools which could be used by your people, your tech staff, and developed in the future tech staff. So the education of these people are extremely important. Who are those people who start to manage this infrastructure? And tailored solution addressing the local needs. This is, again, I repeat that whatever you do for people. And if you do something for people, you need to do with people. So ask your customers what you want, what is really good for you. And thinking that we take not what we have on the markets, but we take this what is suitable for our people, what they can easily start to use. So as I told, there are different types of identity. And Estonia has several identities possible for people to use. Why it's important? So it's a technology, yes, and we understand that everything can happen because of cyber attacks, because back some problem. So we all already faces that. So if some big technical problem happened with our ID cards, our people had another possibility to have access to the services because they had in their pocket different types of identity. So that's why in Estonia we have smart card, which is your digital identity in a physical card, in your local passport ID card. We have SIM-based mobile ID, which can be used from 2G to 5G networks, where the keys are stored in SIM cards. And we have cloud-based smart ID, which is as an app in your smartphones. So this has also given people the trust, the freedom to choose. Because if something is pushed, people always don't like it. So they're thinking that this is some kind of control. Or maybe government would control me, or maybe government want to know something about me. So that's why it's also extremely important to give this feeling of flexibility that you can select what is much better suitable for you. Maybe it's suitable for you to have laptop with your ID card inside, or maybe it's good because you travel a lot to have SIM-based identity because you can use it in Africa where it's maybe only 2G accessible. So this is what we are doing. And according to the European Union defined standards, it's as well storage credentials possible now, all what I mentioned here. And you can see also what are the pluses and minuses, because there are no ideal tool. Each of them has their pluses. So what is a ID card? It's a very secure physical instrument in your hand, but it's quite complicated for people to use because you need for this hardware and software. So my personal recommendation, if I see today the countries who start to implement identities, people not using any more physical cards as a because it's quite complicated. So it's on-device source storage, where the keys are storage in the protected area of your phone. It's very easy to integrate, but again, you are dependent a lot from different operation systems of different vendors all over the world of phones. It's a SIM and eSIM-based identity, so we have developed also the possibility to have keys not only on a SIM cards, but also on eSIM cards, because you know the new technology is possible. Use on smartphones, no SIM cards anymore, but electronic SIM cards. So the keys could be managed also remotely, and it's also very easy to use and secure one. And remote secure element, this is what we are called Smart ID, where you can use remote HSM for securing your keys. You see the variety of technological solutions which are accepted as the highest level of assurance. Highest level of assurance means that it's equal to handwritten signature and the legal valid. So it's up to you which one you will implement with whom and how. So as I told before, I wanted also to bring you some stories how we did from scratch some another country lately, using Estonian experience. And this was, as I told you, Azerbaijan with 10 million population. And when we started to think back to Estonian experience, what we will do, we decided that this should be mobile identity, because we had this opportunity to start with innovative solutions. But 10 years ago, there wasn't so well-developed cloud solutions. So that's why we used SIM-based identity, which were accessible to all people, even in rural areas with limited network accessibility. We even took into consideration those people maybe who can't use e-services because of their literacy, and we have developed national call centers which verbally served people. So they called to the call center, they verbally talked, signed the result of this conversation, and they were served. It was very good for farmers or for family businesses or for those who really have some limitation of tools to use. So you see how flexible you should be. You always need to think about the country where you're doing or implementing something, because we are here not to teach nobody. We're just sharing our experience as a final solution coming only from Maldives itself, taking into account all these lessons learned from us or from other countries as well. So, and for today, are we succeeded? I think yes, because more than 2,000 it took a time, and we want to be fast. So this was the reason why we did it, but there's still in European Union legacy also defined the legal transaction for companies and for businesses. And what you have also very good possibility, you need to think forward. For example, let's imagine that today you need to create professional institution and you start to think what curricula you will implement. And you look to some countries who did it 20 years ago. They were accountant, they were bank teller, some other professions will disappear after 5 years. Is it smart to do it? Not. Yes, you start a new institution with professions which will disappear in 5 years. So what we can take into consideration here, all the world now talking about quantum proof technology, because quantum is coming and date is now since 2030. So what you can do, you can start from scratch to create quantum-ready infrastructure. Not to do it after everything. But you can do it immediately right now. So this is what we did also in other countries. We have developed solutions with hybrid cryptography to taking into account that the quantum is coming. What does it mean, quantum ready? It means when quantum computing coming, it's proved already that all existing RSA standards will not exist anymore. So it means everything you encrypted today could be decrypted by quantum computing. So that's why, rather to change after, you can immediately to implement and to think how you use this hybrid cryptography to protect your data, your documents from the 2030 quantum coming. So, and what also important, we looked how from this our identity we can benefit cross-border as well. That's why Estonia was the first country which implemented the program called e-residency, the possibility to issue a digital identity to the people all around the world. They can start remotely doing business, they can open remotely bank account, and they can do whatever they want remotely, even not visiting Estonia. And what is the result for today? We have 121,000 e-residents. Is it a big number for 1.3 population? So we got additional residents immediately. So we have 33,000 resident established companies. What does it mean for budget? They're paying taxes. So they bring money, they bring additional value to our economy. So we got direct income positive economic impact like 244 million euros just for implementing one small technological tool. And I know that your president announced the program that Maldives will become International Financial Islamic Center. It could be absolutely great tool for you because there are a lot of Islamic countries who announce that. The question, who will be the best place? The best place will be those who can provide additionally digital infrastructure. So you can bring this investor all over the world, just providing them the full ready ecosystem. If they invest to Maldives, they can remotely open company, bank account in your financial institutions, and they can start manage their businesses remotely, or some digital nomads will use your islands coming here and to enjoy this nice weather and doing remotely their businesses. This is a magic tool that can make your project much more compatible. This is a magic word for any project what we have developed in Estonia. It's public-private partnership. Because there are no succeed if you not involve business. Identity and the same in any service what you are developing. Because it's approved, government is not good businessman. The businesses know how to make user-friendly, really to invest to developments, how bring people on board. So this is what we are implemented in some countries, a public-private partnership, and it's very succeeded. So you can take the certification authority under the control of government, of course, because you issue a passport in some way, but the infrastructure itself could be provided by private sector. And it works very well, because private sector always thinking ahead, because they wouldn't like to lose the client. So this public-private partnership is really extremely important to look inside how you can implement your private sector in this journey, because without it, you will not succeed. It could be not only companies, it's like big telecoms, it's financial sector. So these PPP models are really very successful. And again, that to make this public-private partnership succeeded, it should be very clear government structure and accountability to avoid corruption, what yesterday talked about president. So everything should be legally regulated, very clear, and the public-private partnership schema should be also very clear to everyone. It should be transparent. Talking about the journey here in Maldives, what to take into account, again, so it should be tailored digital identity strategy to local needs and user behavior, always thinking about your cases. You have a lot of islands. Think how people will be onboarded, with which technology, how they have the accessibility. Do they all have accessibility to internet? I'm not talking now about statistics, but about the real situation. So to see that every single person would benefit from the technology you are implemented. Of course, again, you should to think about variety of services when you provide identity, thinking carefully, maybe you cooperate with the telecoms, provide SIM and eSIM-based solution, you cooperate some private sector, create cloud-based solution. Maybe you still have smart card as additional instrument with PKI inside. It's up to you to decide, do you have enough money to invest to that? So it's a business approach. You need to think how much you invest and what will be the result. If you invest a huge amount of money and no people start to use it, the question why? Yes, or what you want to solve with one or another solution. So this is what I would like to give suggestion to you. Think with your heart, with your mind, thinking about the business culture, thinking about that, yes, we should be quick because the society is waiting from all of you results, but don't forget, legal acts, legacy, very certain regulation, also extremely important. And we should go parallelly very quickly to define the regulatory, what we want to have at the end of the day, and then to be clever purchase. This is a cost a lot of money to know what you order from vendors. Not to hearing what vendors tell you. You should tell vendors what you want. Because vendors want to sell you. They not care about you. At the end of the day, you will pay. So, but to be clever purchaser, it's a very expensive. You should have very high level stuff, or maybe just for some short period, take assistance from international consultancy, which would be independent from vendor. Thank you so much. Is it some questions? Yes. I don't know how it's managed. It's a microphone, maybe I give this one. I don't know, does it work?
way forward for the Maldives to become a digital country. Communities, island councils. I just wonder how we could connect all these councils together to make as one community to way forward to implement transformation in the Maldives. Thank you.
As I told, it's extremely important that every single person will be involved. So I think that the possibility to be onboarded remotely, this is a key for your communities. The most big problematic in Maldives is people. And of course, it's extremely important to work a lot about digital literacy. Because when you back the education, the knowledge how to use it. For example, I know that you have OneGov centers in Maldives. And the transition period usually is not very quick. And what I suggest, what we did in Estonia as well, when you start to implement a new e-service, which before was on a paper-based, and when people come to OneGov center or in another center, maybe you will do it at schools, because as I know, in each single island you have a school. So you put the PCs there, and people who coming would like to be served, you put some volunteers who will teach them how to use this service. And next time they will. So how to find these tools, how you bring this digital literacy to a society depends a lot of your vision about how you have this infrastructure built, what you can use in this infrastructure. But it could be like obligatory and mandatory. If you have a service, no way anymore to get it physical. Put them, sit down to the PC. The transition will be very, very long, because people wouldn't like sometimes to learn something. So we did the same with mandatory service digitally for the whole population. And we had a lot of different policies, like campaigns when children teach their grandparents how to use the services. We had special programs in libraries all around the country. So it's a lot of educational measures parallelly, because education is a key word in the whole digitalization process. Because without education, you'll not succeed anything. We started in Estonia with education. To have access to every single person, to internet, to computer, to get this knowledge, digital literacy. This is extremely important not to forget about that. So you could be very fast technologically and forget about your people. So you need to make it parallelly. Thank you. Okay, I don't know if the time allowed us.
If you have any more questions, you can raise your hands and we will provide a microphone to you.
One more question, okay.
Once again, thank you. Very clear explanations. As my mandate has involved a lot of negotiation and communication with the local councils, because I'm the Minister of Cities and Local Government, I try to communicate with local councils, encouraging them to not to travel to the Maldives, to Mali every time when they wanted to update their information and knowledge on certain activities or projects that the government has proposed or promised. The tradition is every time when they wanted to have some updates, they try to come to the Maldives, Mali, and meet with the senior staff members in the government offices. When I tried, some councils they tried, but the reality was sometimes they felt that when they don't see the people face to face, the effectiveness of the meetings has not been that critically effective. The other reason was that they felt that in the senior levels even, the mindset and how could we possibly encourage the local councils and the senior ministries here in the capital Male to have a strong establishment of communications through digital without coming to Male every time when they wanted to have some project updates on certain issues. Thank you.
I think this is what will be discussed in our another presentation. You shouldn't anymore, never come to Mali to update something. So how it would be done automatically, how the systems will be integrated directly. So you shouldn't keep any piece of data in community in Ireland. It will come everything from registries automatically and will be served remotely. So this would be described by Katie in her next presentation, and you can discuss it. So everything is possible, but I understand anyway, senior people want physically to communicate. So, of course, some of them, especially in these cultures, in Estonia, we are people who don't like communicate a lot. But here I know that people are very open-minded. Sometimes they just want to be to the service center just to have a talk. So, of course, it's again up to you how to still have this possibility for senior people to be served through OneGov centers or through another centers. But what about technical integration and technical maintenance? Of course, it shouldn't be absolutely solved automatically without any human being behind that. So you shouldn't come anymore to Mali to update or upload a program.